On July 26, 2026, at approximately 4:31 p.m., the Mooresville Police Department received a call reporting a shooting on Interstate 77 at the exit 35 ramp. Responding officers arrived to find two victims inside a vehicle suffering from gunshot wounds. Officers provided immediate medical care at the scene. Both victims were subsequently transported to Carolina's Medical Center with critical life-threatening injuries. The scene was secured and Mooresville police detectives responded to conduct a thorough investigation. Detectives canvassed the area along I-77 for evidence related to the shooting, and the department's firearms explosive detection K-9 was deployed to assist in locating shell casings along the interstate. Following the investigations, detectives determined that both victims were shot from within the vehicle. As a result, Jacoby Trajan Ramseur, 23 of Hickory, a passenger in the vehicle, has been charged with attempted first-degree murder. This remains an active, ongoing investigation. Anyone with additional information is asked to contact the Mooresville Police Department Criminal Investigations Division at 704-664-3311. Now, in case that wasn't clear, let's be clear about something. This was not a drive-by shooting. This was a domestic that may very well turn into a murder-suicide, depending on the conditions of both people. So, not a drive-by shooting, domestic, and could very well turn into a murder-suicide. So we kept this short, shorter than I usually do on these, because there's a lot of unpack here, and I know you're going to have a lot of questions, so let's have them.
So we do not believe there was any other person inside the vehicle?
Just those two, yes. Nobody else inside the vehicle.
And those two people are in a relationship together?
Yes.
Are you identifying either of the victims/suspect?
The one I did, the one is the suspect. We're not identifying the female at this time.
He's only been charged with attempted first-degree murder at this point?
That's right, because she's still alive. He's still alive, too. They're both in critical condition. And really, their conditions are literally, we just spoke to the hospital about an hour ago. It's really hour by hour on both of these victims. So if the female ends up dying, we will be amending this charge to a first-degree murder charge. Right now, it's attempted, obviously, because she's still alive.
How old are they, sir?
He is 23, and I believe she's 19.
Do you know how long they've been in a relationship?
They've been on and off for a while. It's been a real tumultuous relationship between them from what we've been able to determine. There's been reports of domestic violations in surrounding counties involving these two. There was a whole bunch of text messages between both of them that morning, actually starting at midnight, going through to right up into the morning. At about 8 o'clock on Saturday morning, he texted her and talked about a murder-suicide pact. And then he kept pressuring her to pick him up. The text messages stop at about 2:30 in the afternoon, like I said, as going on all night long. He wanted her to pick her up, wanted him to pick her up. She finally did. We're not sure. The last text message was about 2:30 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, Sunday, sorry. And then we don't know where they were for 2 hours, but they ended up here on 77.
Is there a message you can domestic violence relationship that might be experiencing similar trauma?
Yes, I mean, you know, let me give you my viewpoint as a father of 20-year-old twin girls, right? I mean, nobody changes, right? If there's violence, if somebody puts your hand on you, and I've tried to tell my girls this, once he pushes you, once he shoves you, that's it. Like, if you think it's going to get better, you're delusional, because it doesn't. It gets worse. And I'm a firm believer also that people treat you exactly how you allow them to treat you. So if you keep letting this stuff go, it's going to get worse and worse and worse. And you know, this is a young girl that's now fighting for her life, and it's a shame. You know, he obviously had he was obviously obsessed with her. It's pretty clear through text messages we've seen. And, and how many times have you heard that, right? Even though he didn't say this, right? I mean, I think we can fill in the blanks, like it seems like it's the, if I can't have you, nobody's gonna have you type of deal. I mean, we hear that all the time, right? So, yeah, young girls that are out there, it's not gonna get any better. You're foolish to think it's going to. So, yeah, I mean, that would be my,
You mentioned previous reports from surrounding counties. What about here specifically? Is this a case that you're familiar with?
no, we don't know, we're not familiar with either one of these individuals. They're mostly from the Hickory area and surrounding, but we've just been, in the last, literally the last half hour, he's a suspect in another crime in a surrounding community too, which I can't get into because it's ongoing, but I will say that he is well known to authorities in multiple counties.
Can you confirm if that's domestic as well, or is it something different?
It's something different.
Are there any signs that perhaps she did try to leave or try to notify him? You said she resisted coming over at some point.
Well, she didn't want to, it seems like the way we're reading the text messages, at least that day, were more of like, they had been on again, off again, and he was trying to get back with her, and she really didn't want to have anything to do with him. And like I said, she worked an overnight job. I'm not going to say where that is. And he kept texting her throughout the night at her job. Just wanted to get her to pick her up, pick her up, pick her up. You know, what that means, but they were clearly off and then on, but apparently this had been going on for quite some time, the on again, off again relationship. I do want to mention that, the media, that there was a red truck involved. There was no red truck involved in this. We understand where that came from because we did find a red truck. And in looking at this, let me just explain to you the scene a little bit. So, all the shots came from within inside the vehicle. There were 4 bullet holes in the vehicle, all going out, not coming into the vehicle. One was in the passenger side, driver's side window. 2 were in the windshield, and 1 was up through the top of the roof. She was driving the vehicle. He was in the passenger side. It looks like he shot her in the head, and that's the shot that went out through the driver's side window. Witnesses, and we have a video from somebody that had a dash cam in his car that shows the vehicle swaying all over the road. In fact, tire pops off at one point. The car's being so erratically. The other shots make no sense where they're located, except for the fact that she was probably in a struggle with him to take the gun away from him. That's what it looks like. Looks like they were in a struggle and he was just firing. It also appears that he had a self-inflicted gunshot to his temple. That bullet did not exit. In fact, that bullet was taken out at the hospital. It was still lodged in his head. So, but what we wanted to do, and we were able to find the red pickup truck. It came back to an individual in South Carolina. We talked to him and cleared him. You can see on the dash cam video that this person had that there is that red truck is in the scene, but it's about 300 yards ahead of where this car was. So there was no connection there. But we wanted to make the connection, and I'll tell you why it's important. When we do these investigations, we have conversations, and we try to look at it, from every possible angle. We also try to look at it is what would the defense say in cases like this? What would be the argument? Do we have a solid case? What is that? And one of the things we were concerned about was that he could say that the red truck was shooting at them, and then he shot back at the red truck and hit her by accident, and then was so distraught, shot himself. So we considered that scenario, so it was important for us to find, if we could, to find the red truck and have this conversation, even though the dash cam video that car had made it pretty clear that it wasn't anywhere near when this shooting took place. However, you and I both know you get into court and it becomes a bone of contention. So we wanted to follow up with that lead, and that took us a little while to find the red truck, track it down. the investigators knew right away that these shots came from inside the vehicle. And so we didn't want to put out there about the red, we just let social media say whatever they wanted to do about the red vehicle until we actually found it. Because we needed to talk to that driver. So that was a little bit of the delay. And again, we wanted to make this case as airtight as we could. We think it is with the forensic evidence and everything that we have, but, right, you never know. We don't want to, as horrifying as this is for the family and having been doing this for a long time, the thing that makes it worse is if nobody is meant, and we screw something up where somebody isn't held accountable for it, and then the victims are victimized again. So that's the last thing we want to do.
Chief, are there pending additional charges if he survives, like public endangerment, anything in that space, or right now is it just the attempted
No,
murder?
we'll just, if he survives, well, first, if she dies, and God forbid that she does, we're hoping she doesn't, but if she does, it's gonna be murder, first degree murder at that point. Him, we have a warrant for him if he, I think he's, I don't believe he's conscious at this point. If he survives and becomes alert and conscious, we'll serve the warrant on him. I was gonna ask for remand and then we'll start the process. We just don't know where it is yet, but we also wanted to get these charges done and get them charged to also because, and you may have gotten these too, we're getting inundated with calls about the red truck, right? Which I understand in a lot of ways it's good, but people are seeing red trucks everywhere. And so we needed to put an end to that. So there's nothing more that we can do on our end. We have some follow-up stuff, but nothing it's just tightening up some more of the investigation. But we had enough to charge, and that's why we moved forward to just, let's put this thing to bed as soon as we can.
Chief, this put a lot of people in danger that live then on the road nearby. What do you do in this situation if you see something?
Yeah, listen, I go back to what I tell my daughters, if you see a car that's erratic, and 9 times out of 10, right, it's a drunk driver. If you can get ahead of them, get ahead of them. Get them behind you. If it's safe to do so, get them behind you. If not, then pull over and let them go, right? And you got to kind of judge that on this, the scenario we're talking about, right? But the best thing to do, if you can get them behind you safely, then do that. If there's an on-ramp or an off-ramp, get off that. If you can get out of there and get out of their way, that's the best thing to do, whatever that looks like. Sometimes pulling over on a highway is not the best thing to do either. So it's kind of a judgment call. It's hard for me to tell. My first reaction is if you can get ahead of them, get ahead of them. Yep.
Going back to the red truck for a minute, the first officer on the scene immediately radioed back to dispatch stating there's a red truck. Where did that information originally come from?
So I think that came originally from the person who had the dash cam video, because there was a red truck ahead of the car. Like I said, it was in the area, but when the car starts to swerve, like I said, it's 300 at least, right, Jamie? We think 300? It's like 300. You can barely see it from it's well past there. I just think that when people stop, this guy might have said, I saw a red truck. And I think he saw a red truck because I think the red truck passes him. And I believe he sees it getting up there, and then, he's not paying any attention to that, and then his attention is drawn to this vehicle now that's kind of swerving all over the place. And the tire, like I said, you can see the tire come off the car, they slide over, they crash. And I think it's just one of those things where they probably asked him, he goes, I saw a red truck go by at the same time. So I think he just, because it happened so quick, that I just think he was, and that's fine, right? It ended up helping us really, so that would be my guess where that came from. Well, that was easy. So we'll keep you updated, obviously, if her condition changes. We'll obviously be amending the complaint if we do that. We'll certainly let you know if it changes with him and he gets to the point where he understands and can be arraigned. on these charges, we'll also let you know on that.
It was my understanding that the male was conscious on scene.
Yes.
So is he expected to survive?
It's really, from the last we heard, for him, it's about 50-50. Like I said, they were able to take the bullet out of his head, but I don't know what type of damage he has. If he's got brain damage or not, we just don't know.
Do we know what caliber weapon?
We don't. We do, but we're not going to talk about that. Anything else? Okay, thank you.